here because yesterday Facebook didn't work for me. Okay, great. We're doing it. We're live. We're here. First of all, let's start with the fact that I am dressed for a workout, everybody. I've got my outfit on. Here at the office, we are doing what we call field day. We have not been together as a team since March, and we have been trying to figure out how we could get the crew together, whoever felt comfortable or safe with being outdoors with us. So we planned a field day. You can go watch it on my Instagram stories, or I think Facebook probably has them too, but we've been doing like relay races and question games or whatever, and we're socially distancing. We've got our masks on. We're doing it in a safe way, but it is so good for my heart, and I think for the team's heart, to be able to just be together in one space. And we very intentionally chose this day because here in the US, it's the day after the election, and the election, no matter which direction you voted, the election is causing a lot of anxiety for a lot of people, and we just wanted this day to sort of come together and take control of our feelings. So we as a company, if you are part of our Rise community at all, if you're part of our app, if you do any of that with us, you know our slogan. The thing that we believe is that when you move your body, you change your mind. Meaning, when you move your body, when you go on a walk, when you go on a run, when you dance around, when you play with your kids, when you go do, dumb games with your coworkers out in a field, when you do that, it lowers the stress hormones in your body. So you literally change what's going on in your mind by pushing your body into physical movement. And I just want to say that today because, dang it, there's so much freaking anxiety in the world right now. And it doesn't mean that what's happening isn't serious. It doesn't mean that it isn't scary for some people. I'm not saying those things aren't true. What I am saying is that you have never, ever, ever been in control of what happens in the world around you. Ever. You were not in control of the world before COVID. You won't be in control of the world after. You can't control politics. The only thing that we can do is to be mindful of ourselves and the role we play in our own life. And so this is day 3 of book club for my new book. Didn't see that coming. And I wrote this book inside of quarantine for the time that we're living in right now. There is no hard and fast answer for how you deal with the fact that we're in a pandemic, but there are plenty of tools and resources for how you deal with the side effects. How do you deal with anxiety? How do you deal with fear? How do you deal with being stuck? So that's what we're doing. I'm hanging out with you guys every single weekday right now at noon Central, and we're just doing a quick lesson on each individual chapter of the book. If you want to do the full book club with all the questions in the back where you can fill it out and sort of take a deeper dive for yourself, you want to grab the Target edition. If you don't have a copy of the book, no worries. Grab a notebook and let's sort of go through these things together. So today I am talking about chapter 2, which is this idea of don't question your suffering. Don't question your suffering. What I mean by that is, for me, suffering almost always shows up in the form of questions that I kind of spiral out in my mind. I think that this is common for anybody who deals with anxiety, but I don't know if you guys do this. Give me a heart or a thumbs up, Facebook, Instagram, if you can sort of make everything worse just by your thoughts kind of running away with you. Like if you can just sort of like spin out and go, well, what if this happens? And what if that happens? And what if she's mad at me? And then what if he doesn't come? And then what if, and then what if, and then what if this one wins? And what if that one wins? And who's going to have the Senate? And what, like, and we can make ourselves feel so anxious about a reality that we are making up in our own minds. And for me, that suffering, and I do really want to be clear on this, it is suffering. It is. When you are living in a state of anxiousness, fear, all of those things, it is a form of suffering. And there are plenty of times in life where we do not have control over the hard things that we're going through. But you do have control over what you think. It doesn't always feel like it, especially if you have racing thoughts or anxiety or you've struggled with depression. It doesn't always feel like it, but you are in control of this. We talked about this yesterday. What you feel, what you are feeling in your body is based on what you are thinking. And so we have to be thoughtful about what we're thinking. So I really want to unpack the questions that tend to throw us off. And I'm going to go through these because I'm not doing this to hear the sound of my own voice. I am doing this because maybe, even if you haven't read the book, maybe one of these questions is going to give you, like Oprah said, that aha moment. Like you're going to have that light bulb moment where you're like, oh my gosh, that's what I'm doing. So listen up. And if this is you, comment, let me know, give me a heart, give me a thumbs up. Okay, this is from chapter 2 of Didn't See That Coming. The first question, so I broke these out into who, what, when, where, why, how. Old school style. So who? We're going to ask, do you have suffering because of who? So I broke who into two things. If you have lost someone, then who becomes an obsession with the person that you lost, right? Everything becomes about the grief of who is missing. This is our first Christmas without Daddy. Right? Or, Ryan's not going to be with us at the wedding, or, a girlfriend that you loved and, she broke up with you, and who? The who in this instance is you obsessing over someone who is gone. They're no longer there. The other who that shows up for people is when someone hurts you. When you have swirling, anxious, focused thoughts about who did this damage, who did you wrong, who did this thing. And I feel like that pops up for us because on some level, on some sort of like animalistic level, we think that if we can analyze from every single angle how they hurt us, how it went down, what happened, how they were wrong, then we can protect ourselves from being hurt in the future. Anyone tracking with this? Okay, so let me jump into that one because I think that one's really interesting. Who triggered by hurt? So if this is you guys, listen up. Not all suffering because of another person comes from loss. Just as often, it comes from pain. In this instance, the who is focused on the person who hurt you. Being hurt by another can take on 1,000 different forms. A partner who cheated, a parent who left, a family member who abused, a friend who took advantage. It shows up in different ways for all of us, but when we focus only on this who, the effects can be lasting and devastating. For me, I found that whenever I focus on the perpetrator, it's typically because on some unconscious level, I am trying to protect myself. My subconscious seems to believe that if I can just identify every single thing about this person and their motives, I can keep myself from being hurt again. The problem with this approach is that we begin to see those motives. Let me say it again. Everybody listen. The problem with this approach is that we begin to see those motives in others, whether or not they're actually there. We obsess so much over the bad guy, we begin to see everyone around us as a bad guy too. In some instances, we begin to blame the other person for not just the major harm they did us, but other negative things that might happen. The who becomes the cause of many of our problems in one way or another, and this attitude invariably begins to erode the ownership that we have over our own life. We talked about this a little yesterday, and you can go back and watch it on IGTV or on Facebook. But when it's about the other person, when it's about the person who did you wrong or hurt you, or this boss doesn't respect me, or these people don't, you're giving your power away. You are giving the power of your life, your choices, how you show up in this world. You are giving it away to somebody who probably is not even thinking about you anymore. So if you can't do the work to unpack that hurt and figure it out for you, then do it strictly because they've already taken enough. They've already hurt you enough. They already own a piece of your past. Don't give them a moment of your present, and definitely not a portion of your future. Okay, the other kind of question, we talked about two kinds of who. Now we're going to talk about what. When you obsess over what. The next kind of suffering comes from an obsession over what happened. This painful thing, this crisis, whether it's 2020, you lost your job, your business is struggling, your marriage has ended, you're grieving the loss of a loved one. You obsess over what. What exactly happened? This is what I found myself doing on a reoccurring loop when my brother died. If you're like I was during that time, you go over every single detail of what occurred leading up to, during, and after the thing that caused you pain. I always believed that my mind did this because I was trying to process, whether I wanted to or not, the horrific things I'd seen the day he died. But I also think in other situations, there's shame wrapped up in this process too. Combing through those details again and again is your subconscious asking over and over, what did I miss? What signs were there? What kept me away that day? What didn't I know? Of these 4 questions, there are likely some that make you spiral more than others. Those are the ones for which there simply are not answers. For those questions about what you missed, what signs you should have seen, the truth is, you aren't all-knowing. You can think about what happened from every angle, but it won't unmake the past. It won't bring someone back. It won't undo the hurt. What it will do is cause you more and more depression and sadness about who or what you lost, or it will create more anxiety about the uncertainty in your future. When? When is the next question that people ask when they're suffering? As in, when is this going to be over? When will this pain stop? When will I stop crying every day? When will people stop asking me if I'm okay? When you lament about when, with these questions, what you're really, truly asking is, when will my life go back to normal? When will it be like it was? So many people right now, all over the world, are playing the when game. When is COVID going to be over? When will the economy bounce back? When will I feel proud of our, political system? When is this? When? Because you're on some level, or maybe every level, you're saying, when is my life going to go back to normal? There is no normal that we are going back to. Whether I was teaching you and talking to you about a pandemic, or I was talking to you about a huge transition or change in your life, y'all need to hear me right now. And I know that this can sound scary, but I want you to flip the script and see this as powerful information for you to hold. You aren't going to go back. There is no normal to go back to. This is your life. This is it. This is it. I mean, it's like I put the video up on Instagram last night, and I'm going to keep saying this to you. I think you guys know, I think you know me well enough to know which way I'm hoping this election goes. But I also hope you know me well enough to know that I respect and love everybody and think that everybody can sit at my table. No matter who you voted for, no matter what, we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. We have gone through harder situations than this. And if anything, that I hope the last 6 months, I'm speaking to Americans right now, so if you're watching from another country, I'm not going to apologize, because the Americans need this. If anything, I hope that the last 6 months have shown us, have shined a light on the work that we need to do. If you feel passionate, I almost cussed, I'm not going to cuss. If you feel anxious about the state of the election, let that feed your heart about the work that needs to be done. Let that guide you. Okay, what are the things that you feel upset about most? Where are the holes that you see that need, get fired up. I used to think this for so long. I would I'd be like, God, why aren't you fixing this? Why doesn't someone make this better? Why isn't somebody helping these people? Why don't we show up in this way? Why? And I always think that if your heart is beating for something, I really believe that God's up there like, fool, why do you think I put this on your heart? This is just the beginning. Doesn't freaking matter who wins this election. This is just the beginning. If you see this as a pivotal answer for whether or not your life is going to be okay, you are screwed. You have to take ownership of your life. I think is it Gandhi who said, be the change you want to see in the world? If you feel passionate, if you feel like, look, if you describe the feeling of nervousness, right? So if I said, I feel really nervous, and someone said, okay, well, describe the physical symptoms of nerves. Okay, my stomach feels queasy, my palms are sweating, I feel sort of jittery, I'm not sure what's about to happen, right? That is how you would describe nerves. Now, flip that. If I told you that I felt excited, and someone said, okay, Rach, tell me the physical symptoms of excited. I'd be like, okay, well, my stomach feels kind of weird and my palms are sweaty like an Eminem song and I feel sort of jittery and they are the same feeling. Nervous and excited are the exact same feelings in your body. But we use two different words to describe them. And those two different words, one is negative and one is empowering. So you can see what's happening in your life. You can see the pandemic, you can see the crisis, and you can look at this and go, I'm unsure, I don't know, I'm feeling all these things. Or you could be like, oh, this is my system and this is my spirit calling me to something more. This is my soul. This is my creator, whatever you believe in. This is something in me is saying, you got to show up. We have work to do. And if you are looking right now, even looking at polling here in the US, it's so close. Like there is no like sweeping one way or the other. We were so close, which means we are divided as a country. And back before social media or the sort of circus that is the news entertainment, which it is entertainment, back in the day, it was okay if we were divided because you didn't have these machines that were making it worse. So whatever happens, you can sit at home and you can freak out like so many people I know who are doing the questions. Well, what if this happens? And well, when will life go back to the way that it was when this president was in office? Or when will it feel like this again? We're not going backwards. We are going forwards. And any kind of change, any kind of progress in our life does not happen on the other side of you sitting there and freaking out. I'm talking about it in terms of politics because it feels very appropriate for where we are in America right now. But this could be your life. You know, I've seen the notes from you guys and like so many people are saying, you know, Rach, I feel stuck. Rach, everything feels hard. Rach, I don't know how to move forward. Like, tell me, is that where you guys are feeling out right now? Let me just, I just saw a comment and I shouldn't, but I'm gonna stop blaming other people. I love you and I welcome you here. Seriously, everybody allowed here. And I know that the world is teaching you to do this. Stop blaming other people. Someone just said like, Obama started the divisiveness. Thanks, Democrats. Girl, even if you believe that's true, you know that making that comment is a divisive comment, right? Stop blaming. Who gives a stop. We are human beings, you guys. The media, I know I sound a little bit like a crazy person, but media right now is making people think that if you vote differently than someone, then you're evil. And that is not true. It's not. We have gotten to such an ugly place. If you can't see the humanness in your fellow man, we're all lost. We are. Like Yes, you wanted it to go one way, or you want it to go another, or you wish it. The answer has never been to make everybody more split. That has never, in the history of freaking read a book, it has never been the answer, ever. If you can't say that you don't like the way things are, but then add to the fire that makes it more divided. You really want to soften the edges of your own heart, start doing life with people who do not vote like you, who do not love like you, who do not believe like you, who see the world from a different perspective. It is so, I'm going off. We've gone off. This is supposed to be a book club for didn't see that coming. Stay with me or don't, but I'm going to go here. We have gotten so far off track. You hating somebody else, you calling them evil, you calling them wrong, will not make you safer. It will not make you better. It will not bring you more money. It will not fix the economy. It will not get you your job back. It will not keep your kids safe. It will not make anything better. And you even having the ability to complain about the other side, oh, we're red, oh, we're blue, we're Republican, we're Democrat. You even having the ability to complain about that is a freaking privilege. Do you know what I always think about? Have you guys seen this video? And if you haven't, do this for me today. Go find the video. Go find the video of the dad in Syria who taught his toddler to cheer every time she heard a bomb. Let me say that one more time. There is a video that will destroy you. That is a dad in Syria, which is so war-torn and so used to hearing bombs, but he didn't want his toddler to be afraid of the sound of bombs, not crashing miles away, crashing in his freaking street, that he taught his toddler to cheer whenever she heard a bomb drop. And you're complaining because you live in a country that has two sides and the freedom to freaking vote, and nobody dropped a bomb on your doorstep today. Your ability to dislike someone because they vote differently than you is a freaking privilege. And with privilege comes responsibility. If you're going to be grown up enough to hold that privilege, then be grown up enough to be able to accept people who do not believe like you believe. Look, the social media is not going to stop feeding us this rhetoric. CNN, Fox News, they are not going to stop feeding us this rhetoric. We as human beings have to take ownership of the way that we see each other. Thank you. Someone just posted, Meg just posted it on Facebook if you want to watch it. If you need to remember how freaking privileged you are, go watch that video. You want to affect change? Go do something. I promise you that you getting on social media and complaining about the other people isn't doing jack for your world. If you took the energy that you brought to that and you used it to start the nonprofit that you care about, you used it to show up for our veterans, you used it to volunteer for your school district, you used it to volunteer at your church, you used it to donate, to do a coat drive, you used it to show up for your homeless community. Like, guys, we're missing it. We're missing it. We're missing it. And if you were watching me, like if you're watching me, there's a couple, 3,000 of you who are watching me right now on Instagram and Facebook, and however many people are going to watch it today, I have to believe it's because whether you believe like I do, or maybe just like a little inkling in your heart, you're like, that's kind of interesting. We have to be the change that we want to see in the world. The fear that is happening, the crisis we are going through, it's not over. It's not going away. And so you can swirl around in a million questions that are going to make you more anxious, going to make you more afraid of the bad guys, right? Or you can remember who you are. You can remember what you believe, which I hope is that most people are inherently good. You know what I was thinking about this morning? There's so many people, on social, and they're saying all the things, and it's funny, or it's mean, or it's whatever. I want to cuss so bad. Most freaking Americans are not on social media right now. They had work to do. Most of them. They had fields that they had to go work in. They had to go take care of their bakery. They had to go show up at the chemical plant. They had to go show up and freaking drive a semi truck. Most Americans do not have the privilege of sitting on social media and hating on each other because they're working for minimum wage and trying to support their families. We are missing this. If you feel something calling in your heart for change, then don't let the determination of who is president be the thing that decides what you do next. Listen to what is on your heart and ask yourself, how can I use this passion that I am feeling to help other people? Wallowing is not going to get it done. Being afraid is not going to get it done. Hating other people because they're Republican or Democrat is not going to get it done. You would not still be here if you did not believe in something, in yourself, in us as human beings, in the greatness that we have. Lots of people are going to just buy into this circus of chaos and craziness. But most of us, we have kids who are counting on us. We have families. We have teams that we are leading. We are meant to be strong in this. And if you allow yourself to be bogged down by all the things that people want you to buy into, it will only make it worse. I will come back tomorrow and I promise I'll actually give you guys a book club about the new book. But that's just on my heart today. That's on my heart. I only attract people who are world changers. If you're watching this right now, I believe it's because you have something on your heart. You want to start that nonprofit. You want to start that business. You want to write a book. You want to do the podcast. You want to do. You want to make change for social justice. You're here for a reason. Don't freak out about politics. Figure out what your heart is trying to tell you to do next. All right, you guys. I love you. I'm going to go back to field day because what my heart is telling me to do next is to be a strong leader for my team and to create a space for joy and connection in a world that feels divided. Maybe you could find an opportunity in your community to do the same. I love you. I freaking believe in us. I'll see you tomorrow.